Hello, everyone. This is Mr. Younger again. I am your teacher for AST 111, Descriptive Astronomy at College of the Albemarle in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. And I wanted to do a quick run through on your actual course syllabus, as well as sort of the layout of the Moodle page that we're using. So let me start off first with looking at our Moodle page. So I'm going to share the screen. I'm going to go here. Let's see. I don't think that's the one I want to go to. Don't want to go there either. Okay, let's do this instead. Let's go to the syllabus first. All right, so here we are. Here's our syllabus. You'll notice I have my, since this is going on YouTube, I don't want my personal email and my personal phone number out. So I blocked these boxes off. Obviously, your syllabus has that. This is the main stuff that introduces you to the course. Tells you about how often or how quickly I should reply to your emails. Also gives you very specific instructions about how you're supposed to send an email. So if you are planning on contacting me via email, sorry, I yawned. If you're planning on contacting me via email, you first need to make sure you email me from your COA email account. Probably will not see any emails from any account other than a COA email account. Second, you should start your subject line of your email as AST space 111. That should be the first 7 basically spaces in your syllabus, in your subject line of your email. And then thirdly, in your email, I want you to have your first and last name listed in there so I know who you are. If you do follow those instructions, you should hear back from me within one school day. And what I mean by one school day is, let's say you email me just after midnight, 12:01, say a.m. on a Monday. That means I will reply to you by 11:59 p.m. on that Tuesday. In other words, the next day. If I don't, then that's a good time for you to consider texting me. As I've explained to you in the syllabus as well, I've given you my number. One of the reasons you should text me is if you sent me an email and didn't get either a specific response straight to you or a general announcement that was made to everyone that covered your question, then you might want to go ahead and contact me. I may have lost your email or may not have seen it or something, or might have just missed it. Anyways, that's a good time. Those are the 2 good times, or one of the good times to text me. And when you do text me again, you want to let me know that you're an AST 111 and you want to give me your first and last name. The other time where you might want to text me is if it's something urgent. For instance, if you had to come in and take a test and all of a sudden your car broke down or something like that, and you weren't going to be able to make it on time. If that's something that's urgent, you would text me then as well. Again, including the fact that you're AST and AST 111 and including your first and last names. So this is the course details, just generic stuff. The main thing I'm trying to get for you is the way my course is unique compared to other courses. So basically what I recommend you do is at least every Monday, I should have a module for that week posted. I usually have it by noon, but definitely by 5 p.m. And there'll be a module and it'll say week 1 or week 2 or week 3, and then it'll have some dates on it. And generally speaking, the module always starts on the Monday and is over at the Sunday thereafter at 11:59. Excuse me, at 11:59 p.m. So any work that's assigned during that week, you just have to assume it's due by 11:59 p.m. on Sunday, unless I state otherwise. In that module, you'll see usually some helpful videos that you probably should watch, at least some of them, but they're in some sense optional because I can't really tell whether you're watching them or not. But if you're having difficulties, those are your things you should definitely be looking at to see. Or in general, you can just go to my YouTube channel. That's www.youtube.com/Billy Younger Physics Solutions, where B and Y and P and the second S in Physics Solutions is also capitalized. So you'll see plenty of links on the Moodle page for that. There's policies regarding absences. Once you reach 3 absences, you may be dropped by the instructor. The main thing is you don't want me to drop you. You want to drop you yourself, withdraw yourself from the course rather than let someone else. Because if I don't get around to it before the due date, then you could be dropped and get an F when you really should have earned a W. So you need to take care of your own drops. If you decide to drop a class or withdraw from a class, either contact your advisor if you don't know how, or contact the registrar's office and they'll help you with that. Okay. So each of those Monday modules include the week number for that module, the dates of the weeks of that module. They have the objectives, which are sort of the learning objectives, sort of goals for what you're looking to be able to answer, sort of big questions you should be able to answer. Week's requirements are specifically assignments, and then various links and videos to help the students learn that week's material. Initially, while we're in the non-mathematical chapters, or excuse me, while we're in the non-pure astronomy chapters, we're actually in the pure sort of science chapters, which is maybe chapters 1 through 5, 1 through 6, something like that. I try to do no more than one chapter per week. However, when we get to some of the more explanatory chapters where we're talking about the neat stuff about planets or about stars, then I can sometimes do even do 2 or even 3 chapters in a given week. When I do that, of course, the chapter assignments are a little less onerous. So for instance, you'll have sometimes you'll have multiple assignments for a given chapter, but when you have multiple chapters in a week, you usually don't have multiple chapters per or multiple assignments per chapter. So just keep that in mind. We also have online tests. They count as a fairly low percentage, but they're really for you to make sure you've got a mastery of the subject. They're timed, and there's time to be short, but I am allowing you open book, open notes, open other books, as well as your open textbook, also open internet, but you're timed. So you don't want to go over the time, because literally 1 second over is going to cost you 10 points, all the way up to 60 seconds over. If you go to 61 seconds, that's going to cost you 20 points, all the way up to 120, and so on and so forth. So you don't want to go over. So really the goal is to try to make sure you're actually learning. I've found that students are actually quite fast at manipulating things online, and then what often happens is they've got a straight 98 average for 3 online tests, and they take the online or the midterm proctored, and they score in the 40s or 50s. That means they've figured out how to quickly look up stuff and not necessarily learned as much as they need to. So that's what you want to try to focus on, is seeing if you can learn. If you're looking up more than 1 or 2 problems on a given online test, then you're probably not learning very much. You're leaning too much on what you have. So with that in mind, those online tests don't count that much towards your course grade. But not only that, we don't even have any idea who taken them. Whereas the midterm and final being proctored, you have to present an ID, take the test, and I know exactly who's taking it. Okay. Here's the learning outcomes. Again, fairly generic stuff. I'm trying to cover more of the special stuff to my class. All this stuff is still good information. It's just not that specific to my course, so I'm not covering it too much. This is a textbook you're using, and a link to it. You can actually just click on it and you'll find it on the internet. You can also go into Achieve. Achieve will have a link in there. You don't have to have a physical book. If you want a physical book, you can buy it, but it is big. Okay, it's a really thick book. So you can buy that from the student store at this location. You have to have internet access. Obviously, this is an internet course. Your internet course needs to be able to, or your computer needs to be able to access your internet course on the internet, needs to be able to run the things that comes up in Moodle, what we also call my courses, and so on and so forth. Here's my grading policy. So basically all of my assignments, other than online tests and midterm and final exam, all of those assignments, which include labs and homeworks and extra credits I make up, are called Astro points, and that's the heading of them. And the Astro points count for 30% of your course grade. So basically what I'm going to do is I'll take off your 2 lowest of all your Astro point grades and then average them. And to compute a weighted average of your course grade, you do a typical weighted average process, which is you take that average and multiply it, in this case by 0.3, because that's 30% represented as decimal. Then you take all the other ones, the averages with the drops being taken out first or whatever, multiply them by their percentage as a decimal, and then add all those quantities up. And then you divide it by the total number of percentages you've added up. So for instance, if you haven't done, say, the final exam, and the final exam for is 25%, then all the percentages that you add should add up to 75%. So you then have to divide it by 0.75, those individual multiplicative sums. So that's how a weighted average works. Feel free to ask me. That's something that every college student should know how to do. That's how your GPA is calculated. That's how most grades in college courses are calculated. So anyways, that's how Astro points work. Again, I dropped your two lowest, but also if you ever given a homework or some kind of extra credit assignment, what I'll do is I'll up that number by 1, and then everybody that does it to my satisfaction will get 100. If they don't do it to my satisfaction, I'll give them another chance to do it to my satisfaction, and then I'll give them 100, or they'll just keep it as a 0. But by increasing the number of drop scores from 2 to 3, that accounts for the 0. The online tests, that's the ones I was telling you about, where you're allowed to use open notes, open book, and even open internet. The only thing you can't do is you're not supposed to be looking at anything on the web or otherwise created after I made the test available. So if I, for instance, made the test available on January 25th, and you found a website that was created on January 25th at 4 p.m. and the test was posted at 11 or 12:01 a.m., then you obviously are not supposed to be using that. The main thing is I'm trying to avoid you getting direct assistance from someone who has seen the test, or direct assistance, period. But the direct assistance on the internet or through a text and stuff like that, you're just not supposed to be communicating with other people. So that's what all this says. You're usually allowed multiple attempts. I do normally give you 2 or 3 attempts, and only your highest one counts. I will drop your one lowest test grade, and remaining scores will be average, and that will count for 25%. So you can see it's only worth 25%. The homeworks were worth 30%. The homework / labs are worth 30%. And that leaves you, of course, with 55%, having accounted for 55%, which means your midterm and final is going to be worth 45%. And they're comprehensive. So that's what we're talking about here. They're comprehensive, meaning if we've covered up through chapter 9, we take the midterm, then that means chapters 1 through 9 will be on the midterm. If we've covered chapters 1 through 28, and I'm just making that number up, I don't even think our book has 28 chapters, but 1 through 28 on the date of the final, then that final exam will cover chapters 1 through 28. Okay, you do need a calculator. It needs to be a scientific calculator, and you cannot use the one that's on your phone, because during the proctored test, which would be your midterm and final, you're not allowed to use anything that can access the internet except the very computer you're using. And in that case, it's has a lockdown browser or someone monitoring you. So on the midterm and the final, you only get 1 attempt. I usually do twice the time, so I normally give you up to 120 minutes to take the final. You can opt, if you are running against a time crunch, with your permission, you can opt for the testing center to only allow you to take it for an hour or so, in case you show up late or something, but you have to work that out with them. The midterm will count 15 and the final will count 30. So that's where you get 45. Now, I do give some extra credit that helps more than just increasing the number of drop grades. Every time we have a test, I will post a practice test up before it, and that practice test covers the material essentially that's going to be on the test. In fact, I use the same bank to make the test as I do to make the practice test, and I guarantee my students about 80% of the points on the actual test will have come from the bank that I use to make your practice test. So if you've done it an infinite number of times, probably a smaller number would be fine. But if you've done it, the practice test an infinite number of times, then you should see at least 80% of the points on the test being questions that you've already seen before. So that's a really good reason to take it. But for some reason, students still don't take it. So what I've decided to do is sweeten the deal by saying at the end of the semester, I will take your highest grade on each of the practice tests. And of course, if you skip one of the practice tests and didn't do one, that one's going to count as a 0. But I will take the highest grade that you got on each of those practice tests and average them, and then divide that score by 20 and add that to your final course grade. So if you, for instance, manage to get 100 average, that means you're going to get 5 points, a half a letter grade added to your course grade. So that's a really big deal and something you really want to try to make sure you take advantage of. There's the spelling again, 30 Astro points, 25 for online tests, midterm 15, final 30. Don't know why it came down here. What I do is I also offer a 10-point scale like normal, but I do something a little special. So for instance, yes, an 89.5 or higher is an A, a 79.5 or higher is a B. That of course is the case, which is a typical 10-point scale. But if you'll notice, once we get down to the D category, I don't require you to make a 59.5. I require you to make a 57.5. Okay, so I give you a 2 point buffer to at least get up there where the grade passes you, so you can get your degree at College of the Albemarle, but it's not going to transfer. Okay. Lab should be graded within 1 week. Tests, achieve quizzes, all those things are graded immediately, and spontaneous assignments may take up to 1 week to grade as well. As far as attendance goes, I'll be monitoring whether you log in or not. You can see that students should log into AST 111 in Moodle/Mac courses every Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday, and complete each assignment within the allotted time or within 7 days of the due dates. I do allow you a late turn in for your homeworks, but you're losing points per day. Like I said, it's usually on the order of 3% per day, but you just got to make sure, even if you miss it, at least do it within 7 days so you don't get a zero. Each week, the instructor will determine whether you logged into Moodle, and if not, you will be marked absent for Monday of that week. Once you reach 3 absences, you may be dropped by the instructor, and that may result in getting an F for the course grade. Again, if you wish to drop, you must do it yourself. Contact your advisor or someone in the registrar's office for assistance if you don't know how. The student is expected to log into ASC 111 every Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday, so don't forget that. And I look to make sure you did it at least on Monday, and that's going to count for your absence. Okay. And course policies, none of this is really that big of a deal beyond here. Okay, so that basically covers all the nitty-gritty of our syllabus. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing the screen there. And what I'm going to do is see if I can find that screen that I wanted to show earlier, which was, it seems to have just disappeared. I don't know what happened to it. It's very strange. That's not it. What about this? This is not it. Okay, what about this? That's not it either. Okay. Okay, so it appears not to be up here anyways. So let me do this. I'm going to go to this page. All right, I'm going to share another screen and just navigate to our Moodle page. So what we have here is, this is the web page for your OpenStax astronomy textbook. As you can see, it's openstax.org/ and notice that's a forward slash, well, that's your typical division symbol, let's put it that way, or org/details/books/astronomy. That takes you to the book. Here's a table of contents. You can click on these section by section, so on and so forth. The first week you're covering this, the second week you're covering this. You can see we start getting into just pure astronomy without the science background so much, right at around chapter 7. So chapters 1 through 6 will always be done at a rate of about one chapter per week. But once we get to 7, that's when things open up and I can start giving you grades that are giving you assignments for the week that might cover more than one chapter. So let's do this. I'm going to switch to my courses. Hopefully I'm still logged in. It appears I am. So this is our AST 111 course for this semester. And I wanted to just show you how that's laid out. You've probably seen it by now. Obviously, we've got a forum for announcements. That's basically where I've been contacting you, and I will do that at least once a week just to let you know what's going on. When I put the module up, for instance, I'll send that out. Here's a description. Oh crap, it shows my phone number, so I have to blurt this part out or edit this part out. Maybe there's a reason I shouldn't have used this, but anyways, here's a welcome to AST 111 website. Basically, it's just taking you to a video, not unlike the one you're seeing right now. I'm going to put another one right here, probably before that, and that'll be me, this video right here. So that's where this link to this video will be, is right above this welcome to astronomy 111. External tool, this goes to basically Achieve, which is where we're doing our homework, so I can take you there, or you can just click on the individual assignments within the module. Here's where you registered for Achieve. It seems that 10 of you still have not done so. I need y'all to do that really quickly. Your homework is due, if I'm not mistaken, I think it might have been pushed back till tonight at 11:59. So if you haven't done it now, you still got a little bit more time. Here's where you can purchase it. Here's where you can get customer support. Again, there's some Macmillan course tools. Here, there's the Meet Your Instructor page, a quick word about your syllabus. There's your syllabus that we just went over. I often, well, no, this was all fine, so that's fine. So there's your syllabi, so you can always look at that. If I find any mistakes in it that I need to correct, then I'll put it here again. I'll put a date on the end just to show you that it's a newer date than this one, and that way you'll know which one's valid. It's the newest one. Here's some tips on how to succeed in my astronomy class. Here's some frequently asked questions. Here's how to use Moodle / my courses. I'm explaining to you how each day, each Monday at least, you should go in and check your weekly module. These things that are hidden from student, you're just not going to see them. It's just where I put my stuff so I can have it every semester. Here's where you do the enrollment verification check. That actual enrollment verification, everybody save one student, so everybody but one student has done that. We need that student to do that, or they're going to be dropped. That's part of SAC's accreditation, so please get that done if you haven't already. The one person that didn't do it knows it. I sent it to them earlier. This is where your practice tests are going to be. The practice tests I told you that ultimately can be worth up to 5 points on your course grade. And this is where your online test will be. I might even put your midterm and final in the online test, because even when you're getting proctored, they're still going to be through the internet. So I don't have a problem with it being called online tests. Here's some links to help you with labs and learning constellations. Astronomy Magazine, Richard Dibbon Smith. That's the guy whose website is basically based on the 88 constellations. He describes them. He tells you the mythology about them. He tells you some of the some of the astronomical things you can see within it. A lot of cool stuff. It's so good, and I like his page so much. I went in and bought a copy of his book just to support him for doing all that work. Here's some online planetarium software. So this is a kind of thing where you can put in your longitude and latitude, and it actually helps you find that if you want. So you can click on a map and try to pick out your house on the map and keep zooming in, and it'll get you down literally to your own backyard if you wanted to. And if you make an account with it, then it will save it. And every time you go there, it'll be pulled up to that. But once you have that done, then you can dial up just about any day in the future at any time of day or night, and any day in the past at any time or day or night, and pull up exactly what the sky looked like at that time. And it's free. And we're going to use it for some labs. So by all means, check it out. Then we've got the World Wide Web Telescope. That is some very kind and wealthy people got together and made sure this was able to happen. And we basically pieced together the best photos of just about anything you want to see in the night sky. So it's virtually a telescope for you. You can, do a search for something you want to see, and then out pops a photo from a very good world-renowned level telescope. Now, be advised, when you look at, for instance, the Andromeda Nebula, which is now known as the Andromeda Galaxy, or if you look at the Orion Nebula, something like that, with a telescope, it'll be beautiful. In fact, the Andromeda Galaxy looks like a bunch of little spots, but then like a smudge or a blur in it. So that's about as good as you can see, and I have a pretty faint blue hint to it. Or tint to it, excuse me. And if you look at the Orion Nebula, it's sort of, you can see clouds of gas and dust, but it's all pretty much just blue and a few really bright stars. Now, if you take a time-lapse photo where you actually open the aperture and let photons hit the film or the CCD over a long period of time, you can get even more details and see even cooler stuff. And if you use the 3 different color filters and stack the photos, you can actually get really nice photos. So the World Wide Web Telescope will actually give you those photos. So they're way more than what you'd see through a telescope. They're basically processed images where you spend hours with hours of photographs basically, and stack them on top of each other so you can get the best results. So that's what you're going to see there. So I just don't want to bum you out in case you ever get a regular telescope and look through it and see, oh wow, I don't see all the pretty reds and blues and all that stuff. Okay. Here's some discussion forums. This one's for you asking if you have any questions about lab, or if you're just having difficulties with it, you guys can communicate some amongst yourselves. I definitely recommend you guys go to that every week when you're working on a lab. Here's one for the lecture / course material. And then here's one for y'all just to socialize if you want. So again, stay polite, don't be offensive. I never have a problem with students being misbehaving, but I always have to give that warning. Here's some helpful astronomy links. There's my YouTube channel. I just made a video and posted it on your Moodle page about that. When you click on these links, they don't always open up the window and take you where you're supposed to, but below it will be click, and they'll have another URL. You can click on that. So if you ever open one of these links and it doesn't open where it's supposed to, just look down below the window. It's probably going to have a click here, and you click that. This is an old list of my YouTube videos. It's not been updated, but at least it has the list, so you can see a lot of the titles. Here's Crash Course Astronomy by Phil Plait. That's a really good series created by PBS and Phil Plait, also known as the Bad Astronomer. He got his PhD in astrophysics from UVA, but he's pretty funny, and these are like 15-minute intervals, 15 to 20 minutes each to teach the topics. Here's some titles for Phil Plates. Here's an actual course, which is basically the first half of our course. And this is a course that's basically the second half of our course. This is taught at Ohio State University, if I remember correctly, by Richard Pogge. But they're very good. They have, I think it's all in audio. He might have newer ones made out of video, but so far I just had the audio one. So if you ever need a lecture on the material we're talking about, these are really good. They're excellent stand-ins. So if you just need the help of a lecture, you can look on my YouTube channel and look up the topic you're looking for, or just look for AST. Do a search for AST within my YouTube channel, or do a search for NAS. That's another prefix that I use for another astronomy course I offer. If you click on that, search for that, it'll pull up all the courses related to astronomy, and you'll see various ones that are useful. So check those out. Here was last week's module for the week. You can see the objectives are there, the requirements are there. Here's various videos. Here's a video I told you I just made about when you click on a link and it don't load. Here's a video that should help you with the lab that was supposed to be done this week. I've now given you, of course, extra time on that, but anyways, it's there. Here's a PowerPoint discussion where I actually do the lecture that goes along with this. So this is the PowerPoints I'm using. Here's a link to the movie that you were supposed to watch to help you fill out this part, the self-addressed envelope. And here's something that you don't necessarily get unless you're paying very, very close attention to the videos. So I had to make an impromptu, or as I call it, I had to improvise a video to help you understand some of the questions that are asked in this. So this questionnaire is not that easy. It does take a little bit of work. But remember, you can always turn it in late, up to 7 days, with minor reductions in points. Okay, here's your assignments. This one was just one I did just because I put all the assignments due a week later. So now everything that was due either tonight by 11:59 p.m. or last night by 11:59 p.m. Basically, if you'd already done it, you got 100 extra credit for that. If you hadn't done it, you didn't lose any points, but I shifted them all to be due on the 22nd at 11:59 p.m. And here's this week's list. And again, you got some more videos to look at: Crash Course Astronomy, Phil Plait number 1 and number 2 and number 3, Introduction to the Celestial Sphere by me, Scientific and Copernican Revolution by me. This will come up later, so that's why I hid that one. And this week's lab, which is to find the Big Dipper. So most of y'all will, I suspect, know how to find the Big Dipper already. If you don't, that's okay. So anyways, I guess that's enough. I just wanted to introduce you to the syllabus and the class and all that good stuff. And I want to say this is, in my opinion, hands down the best science classes that we offer here or at any other school I teach it at. And not just me, just about anybody teaching these astronomy courses are teaching really, really good science courses. Specifically, if I'm looking at a student that wants to be an educator, maybe a K through 5 or even a 5th through 8th, or even a high school teacher, if they're going to be a science teacher for that science and they only get to take one science class, I would say the astronomy is the best one for them to take. Now, if you're teaching high school and you're teaching a physics class, then yeah, you need more than that. And if you're teaching biology, you need more than that. And if you're teaching astronomy, you probably need more than that, or chemistry or geology, you need more than that. But for elementary school teachers where you're teaching a bunch of different science subjects, this is the best because it covers so many different sciences, and it's automatically got a fan base. Like, people like hearing cool stories about astronomy, and they like the mythology, and They're curious just when you look up at the night sky and see pretty stars and what are they and how far away are they, that kind of stuff. So this class can be really fun. We're going to learn out how the universe works, how we discovered how the universe worked, and how we know what we know, all that good stuff. So I hope you all will enjoy this class. If you ever, as I warned earlier about the dropping thing, if you ever decide you want to drop, please contact me first. Very rarely ever advise a student to drop. It's almost always something I can work with them and get fixed. And students generally don't fail the class either unless they just disappeared. So I can always help you. So by all means, if you need help, you need extra time, you need some private time, we can set up a Zoom session for just you and I and work on it, or we can have office hours or anything like that. I can make separate videos for you folks, all that good stuff. So I look forward to having you this semester, and I hope you all have a good time. Have a good day. Bye-bye.